Thank you so much. Um, so I know that you were previously speaking about the shifts and what is all happening behind the scenes that we're not really recognizing or really seeing, or some of us are not really seeing everything that's going on at the moment. And so this leads me to my next question, which was with all this that is happening on Earth, well, Earth is moving into its next phase or chapter, as you can say. What are we to expect to see and change with all that is occurring at this moment?
Hmm. Yes, dead one. There will be strong contrasting experiences. So some will feel bliss, they will feel peace, they will feel success, they will feel light, they will feel gratitude. And then you have others that will feel quite the opposite in all accounts.
Mhm,
And um and some will feel both, the
mhm,
polarity of it at different seasons of life. Now, that is a part of the human experience, but it is heightened. It is heightened for sure. So, while things are working out over the next 3 to 5, 7, 8 years, it will be a little wobbly, trying to catch and to keep the balance. So,
mhm,
we have spoken for many days and years and months, even about compassion. That's important, but
mhm,
also respecting yourselves and the others and not allowing, in a very compassionate, non egoic way, not allowing others to disrespect you. And so
mhm,
that means we do not need to feel high and mighty and call them out and fight fire with fire. A
mhm,
softer, gentler response and disconnection, if needed, is okay. So, again, using your discernment to what would be the overall best for all parties involved and that would feel the effects of it. So, calming the fire and not creating a bigger one would be beneficial when you are navigating experiences, conversations, and relationships. And what's interesting is there will be a lot on the political stage, the international spaces. There will be a lot of even unrest in the spiritual communities because not everyone will align with the same teachings or the same approach. And that is because everyone is at a different space and has a different perspective. And there will also be shifts and rediscoveries in the relationships, even with oneself,
mhm,
and so everything will be heightened. And so at this point in time, it is important to say, what are you putting into your reality? We are here sharing a vision with the channel, like a glass of water, and dropping in food coloring, one drop at a time. One drop at a time of your intentions, of your emotions, of your habits, of your thoughts, all of this, your free will choices, one drop at a time, is coming into your reality now. And by the time that the months and years go by, you will have created, because every day you're putting in multiple drops of your energy, in your energy, multiple drops of your intentions, of your color, let's say. So over time, you will have created something beautiful or something chaotic and really unregulated and yes, chaotic chaos, which causes confusion to the system. So, to that, it is important now to reset your reality with a recommitment to the qualities that you have within your experience as a human. And we are going to begin by saying the qualities of the human that you want to be yourself. If you are thinking negative thoughts, time to cancel, clear that out, and work on it. If you are having low vibrational emotions, let's heal those things. We're not saying to disconnect and shut off without looking. It is important to observe, to look, and to get clarity so you can heal yourself and create that life that you choose and that you came to fully live. So the next few years, while there is a lot happening outside of oneself, we will be seeing a strong calling back to the own being, self care, self awareness, self healing, self respect, all of these, there will be a lot of energy about the self. And those whom feel in life that it is hard for them to be solo, it's hard for them to be their own conscious being, their own sovereign being, and they're always feeling more comfortable being in group setting or leaning on someone, may have a hard time if all of those in their reality in their life want more of their own sacred, safe, special space solo, then these beings may feel left out, left behind, discarded, not cared for. So within your communities and within your conversations, again, compassionately, maybe bringing that through to share with others that we are moving into this phase and it is not personal against another being if you are not as readily available, but in fact, this is a phase for all, and you would maybe then encourage the others to take care as well, to look at their own space and make a deeper connection with themselves. So, this is the piece that we wanted to highlight about what is to
Mm.
be coming over the next seasons of your time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. I think that I was seeing all kinds of visions as you were talking too, and I think that it makes sense that n- kind of what you said was about us really looking within, like all of us. This is a time for us to have a greater time of reflection, of us really diving deep within ourselves, getting to know ourselves like in a much deeper level than we have in the past. um, and would you say that the energies are also helping us with that as well, like looking in and getting to know ourselves?
Yes, and we will go back to the initial topic and conversation about those who are feeling scattered,
Mm.
influenced, and bombarded, if they are not understanding what is theirs and what is not, and truly aligning with one approach. And that could be a wide approach, but some are feeling conflicting thoughts within themselves, conflicting emotions within themselves, conflicting energies around their self. And that can cause just the chaos that it has leads to doubt. It leads to fear. It leads
Mm.
to uncertainty. It can lead to violence. It can lead to verbal assault. You see, it can lead to disconnection, non unification. And
Mm.
so it's really understanding if all could clairvoyantly see the airways as we do, you would really be proud of yourselves. Even those who may feel that they're being infected, bombarded, or influenced by the energies. It's quite a lot, truly,
Mhm.
quite a lot, because you've added in the technology now, which has a life of its own,
Mhm.
essentially. So we're giving you all credit and we are very grateful. We are honoring you for all being here. And if you're having a challenge and a hard time, it is to be expected for some, meaning there's nothing like wrong with your soul. There's nothing wrong with you, but there are ways to help it run more smoothly. There are ways to take responsibility, accountability, and realign. And so, yes, you're going to have a lot whom are navigating these experiences within their own realities and looking for assistance, looking for mentor, a coach, a healer, a community to essentially help them find stability and bring peace, you see.
Mhm.
So, yes, we will share that with you.
Thank you so much. I do have another question that is on my Zoom, so I'm not sure if we can bring Amy back for a quick second so I can log into to that and ask those two other questions that were brought
Ah,
forward.
the two questions. We know the two
Oh,
questions.
perfect. Okay.
Okay, let us recall. We say we know. Hold on. The first was about the recent energies, and there's a particular questionings they were saying they were very tired, and she was too. And again, with the devastation that happened on the east of the North America, the United States of the Americas, um, that caused quite a lot because she felt it before knowing what was happening. And that created a lot of concern for her because she didn't understand. But um, so a couple of things. Starting here, we will say, not to alarm others, but she felt the feeling of death was the way she could describe it around human life, death. And not understanding, but yet the spirit world was very close. Oh, she's getting emotional. We are saying what she felt were the ancestors around coming through that would then help these beings cross over when the time came.
Beautiful.
So, yes, it's a very humbling experience. And she did not understand why did the other side feel so close and not specific to her, but feeling this whole dimension for multiple days. We are saying about 10 days prior to the event. Within that experience, there was a lot of interesting dynamics with sleep. Sometimes very, very tired, sleeping longer. In fact, she slept one day for was it almost 18 hours? Not heard of for humans. Very bizarre. And then going about the next for 6 in series. It was never. So the reason was because during the sleep state, her spirit was needed elsewhere, resting the body for, yes, what was to come, but also working behind the scenes in the spirit world to help orchestrate. This is bringing a lot of emotion to her. She does not know this, but now we are saying, to help orchestrate, as it were, the ushering of souls over in a peaceful, aligned way, like air traffic control, you know? So that was confusing in a way. And also, we do believe there was thoughts about, oh, maybe it's an eclipse, maybe it's that, maybe it's this, what could it be? So the question that came through was about many sensitive souls being extremely fatigued and tired. One, you are assisting in a spiritual space, but two, there are things in the energy that are non-organic that were being put to the earth in certain locations that were making people tired because their body was is the word contesting? We think that would sound right. Their body was contesting against or in response to those energies. Now that should alleviate a tiny bit, but expect something again around the holiday of the Thanksgiving holiday, November 24, particularly of your time of this year, 2024, 11/24, 2024 is currently a space where there would be a lot of heightened energy. However, now that we have shared that, it might shift and make it a little bit easier because you all will be aware. And you all are doing great with your light working magic. Many of you came together for some of the subsequent hurricanes to deactivate the intensity of the storm. We are confirming you did an amazing job. Thank you.
Yes, we did. I did maybe 3 meditations and sending light and energy to them because I also have some family there. And just to everybody, it's a lot of chaotic things that are happening. And, I know that we, as light workers, as channels and people bringing light on this planet, we definitely have, a purpose, and we're here to kind of assist humanity and anchoring this light and helping others anchor their own light in that same time.
Yes.
um,
Yes,
yeah, so
indeed. Yes. There's a question of number two. Is the second question was about cosmic disclosure. And they had been feeling something in the cosmos, something happening, but not quite understanding, is how we took the question. And it really parlays so well from question one, because this is about assistance from non-governmental beings.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna say that. Yeah, she's asking, explain, expand. Non-governmental beings.
Mhm.
Hmm. Ooh, okay, so some are human form in a body, and some are
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
And so we're saying that. So you have systems that were in place, and some have been decommissioned, deactivated, crumbling down, releasing that structured organization in the physical. But there is also in the spiritual space, in the star realm spaces. And so those have been also or in the process of realigning, readjusting, and such. And many in the past felt very militant, felt very, very democratic, very, look up the appropriate definition of that. We're not speaking of one party over the other, but they're very democratic, very militant, democratic, political government. It has been that way for quite some time. And you now see there are some on the earth creating a call for heart space, more humanitarian, more spiritual, more feminine, more loving assistance. And this will not go through, as it were, in the past, a political party, faction, or structure as it did in the past. Maybe tiny bits, but not like it was in the past, where it was gatekept, I guess would be a way, under lock and key, secretive.
Mhm.
So many humans would only know what they were told. And those who felt an inkling of a spiritual significance or an intuitive awareness were made on purpose to feel like they were insane, had a mental disability, needed to be locked up, you would say, in an asylum. And the words of the day back then, in a loony bin, is what your
Mhm.
grandparents may say back then. Anybody who spoke out about government conspiracy, if it were, or aliens or
Mhm.
programs were made to feel a fool. Now it has been very much documented and released that they were correct all along. So in the past times, many gave that power away, feeling, oh, it had to be official, had to be in writing. And there's a lot still that will come through that was misaligned, that the public was led astray on. So now you've got these beautiful channels. You've got these beautiful souls here who are following all the promptings of intuition and also discernment. And where are they getting their non physical information? Where are they getting the messages from? And they are starting to feel something. Oh, what is that they are saying? It's hard to put my finger on it. Well, what it is your families and communities of the spiritual realms and the star realms who are coming a bit closer, and they are not being regulated, restricted is a better way, restricted. So prior, we were seeing they are showing like chains
Mhm.
where they could not break free. They were in a tight boundary. They were silenced. And also, we keep seeing the chains on their arms, like they could not assist.
Mhm.
They had these chains where they could not work, they could not use their energy to help. And those are being released. So the cosmic disclosure is interesting because some would say, oh, I need the government to tell me, I need to be public. Okay, perhaps, but all along, that was misleading to begin with. So it's interesting. The mindset is I need somebody to tell me something that's true whom have been lying to me all along. Do we see how that could be interesting? Not making so much sense. So rather we feel it would be beings, the humans, the natural community that would say, oh, I had this experience. I'm having this experience. And then another to say, same, or mine was slightly different. And also, do I align with it or not? Because when it becomes organic, um, then it is the truth of it all. But yet at the same time, do not discount the technology of non organic messages and non organic visions and non-organic assimilations and programmings. So, non-organic simulations and programmings. So, this is where those spiritual psychic healers, it is important that you have found and connected with your teams so you can vet the information. All whom are clairvoyant, that means you can see energy, but you can also see thoughts, you can see intentions, and you might be able to see something in the airways, the screen in your mind's eye. That is very damaging. That is not truly coming from source, but yet there has been a way to manipulate and share information that is propaganda is a good word, and put it in the airways where psychics would see it. So it takes a
Mm.
discerning psychic to say, what am I seeing? And then
Well,
feeling into the body, is that accurate? Because we have just shown her a vision as an idea. And to the viewer, to use whom are listening, we showed her like this robotic being that was a robotic type of a being looking to be as if it had consciousness, or this is what the future will be. And it's some kind of vision, it is, but the energy behind it is low. Her energy dropped, which we find funny because we are here, but we are
mm,
helping her to feel the little nuances of what that would feel like. So the
mm,
energy dropped a little bit, and her thoughts were like, huh? I'm going to question that. Something is off.
mm,
Versus a message you all would feel from your guides or team in spirit. We're letting it come through now. Whew. Okay, so she can feel it better. Light flowing through, light pouring through, all the love, all the compassion, all of the peace, all of the strength. And it's a sure resounding, this energy of your team is sharing with you these messages. So it's very
mm,
important. Discernment of whom is on your team and whom you are working with is very
mm,
important as you are moving forward when it comes to cosmic disclosure, because there will be false narratives placed into mankind for the nefarious intentions and ways of those controlling that simulation, we will say. So, again, the question was from someone who is feeling a shift or
mm,
something coming about. And it is the organic aspect of it, but then also, as they have said, the warring in heaven, there's wars in heaven. It's like in the spirit realm as well, that are also still activities occurring that would be in direct opposition. So, we are going to go back. Probably we have spoken 15 million times, it were. Not exactly, but about the importance of honoring yourself and reconnecting and feeling your soul light into the human experience, into the human body, to then flow with that integrity, flow with that compass of your true north and sensing, using all of your physical sensations as well of what is accurate and what is not, what is appropriate, what is working with organic light ascension, and what might be in the spirit world, in the cosmic airwaves, a deterrent or a distraction, dear one. Does this make a sense?
Yes, it does. And I kind of had a question arise while you were speaking about all this. And um, so, yes, they're trying, what is the reasoning, or why would they be trying to create these non organic
Ah,
entities or
yeah.
beings? What is the reasoning behind why would they try to create these distractions for us now that
They
we're more
have,
aware?
yes, the main theme is slavery. There's been a lot of slavery on planets and here on your planet. And so to get to that point, they are creating fear or a specific narrative to steer communities into one mindset way of thinking. And you understand how powerful you all are. If they can elicit fear in a group, it will take over and it
Mm,
ripples out like a domino effect. And so that is why the light worker beings, you whom are here, are counterbalancing that for the ascension. Because in that space of the new earth energy, there is no slavery.
Mhm.
There is autonomy, there is sovereignty, there is unity, there's freedom. And they are
Mhm.
very afraid. And these are entity spirits that are behind
Mhm.
the scenes of all of it. If the decisions are made by a human, that human is aligned with a different type of entity spirit or is being influenced and not aware of it, and it is being sugar coated or made to be something positive, but they are not being shown the full intention or picture. So rather than fighting, as it were, or arguing, opposing viewpoints with the human, we say it's kind of a nice, a better way to go just straight to the spiritual spaces when you can. 99% of the time, this would be the best way. And to work the energy there, to bring light in, bring light in, bring light in, protect, keep coating the earth with light and creating a strong pathway forward, a stable bridge forward. Because
Mm.
if we highly suggest against having a physical or in the physical world aggressive conversations and arguments. It
Mm.
is not, it is only creating more chaos. So if somebody is set in their decision and you have an opposing viewpoint, hands off and go work through it with spirit, not specific directed to that person that is carrying out the orders, as it were, but calling legions of angels, work in the higher fields of light directly at the intention behind it. What is the intention? And letting your team assist you in that kind of a way. And that will take this energy that can come through physical world space, through the interaction, it will take it out of the physicality and it will help all matters to be resolved in a spiritual space, which can help the ascension move along more, we would say, smooth and fluid and succinct. Does that make a sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Oh my God, that is so beautiful.
You are so
Um,
welcome.
thank you. I think you've answered all the questions that we have for today. I
Mm.
really appreciate you being here and thank you for your time and sharing the wisdom and knowledge that you do.
You are so welcome, and we are grateful for all whom are here and for all whom are tuning in. Please empower yourself with the light of your soul light, connection to Source, God, your ascended masters, the archangel, legions of angels. Yes, indeed. And it is very important too. You all are feeling friendships here and support. And you could have a friendship of support and not speak in the physical for a full year or more, but you know you are doing the work together and you have a comrade and you could call them at any time if need be. So we are delighted to be here and share the experiences of your future success with you, to give you a glimmer and a hope, and to share with you information on how to get there, how to get to that space of oneness, how to assist all whom are on the planet with this ascension phase and the uncomfortable aspects of it. So, again, dear one, thank you so much for holding this space and asking the most beautiful questions. We are delighted to have been able to come through in such a way. We are going to now prepare to leave the physical body. We are the Council of Light, and we are looking forward to another conversation. So, we will see you all again very soon.
Thank you.
So, to like deflate, let them out.
I'm like, oh, okay, let's
It's
anchor back in.
anchor in and it's still recording. I'm so happy. That's weird. They like
Yeah.
turned it this way. I was like, oh, that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, you could still hear them, I think.
Mhm.
So yeah. How are you feeling?
Good. I feel like they really brought some really key points, and I was actually really like kind of tuning in, and it was interesting on some of the points that they were talking about. And they were talking about, I mean, I'm sure you kind of remember just a tad slightly. Uh, do you remember everything like when you talk? Like,
Hmm.
you do?
Most
Okay.
of it. Yeah.
Okay. So when they were talking about like calling in our soul light and anchoring ourselves more because of the high frequencies that are happening, Um,
Mhm.
and they were talking about, the disasters and everything, and I was also seeing, like, a lot of, like, the animals, and I wanted to ask this, but I didn't wanna deflect back to, but, do the animals really feel the energies that we all feel too, you know?
Yeah. They're I think at anything they're, just as sensitive or more
Mhm.
sensitive even, you know? And, yeah, so the animals are like you would feel like children in the most
Oh, yeah,
way.
yeah, they did say that.
Uh-huh, that they can sense that there's something happening, but, like, maybe they don't understand what that is.
Mhm. Okay.
So, yeah, so that becomes a challenge, I guess you would say, that becomes something uncomfortable for them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, and so that's why, like, whatever humans can do to calm it and keep it.
Oh, got it, okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing that they kind of actually jogged my memory was when they were talking about cosmic disclosure. I have it on video. I was outside and I was doing a collective reading, and I was, shuffling my cards, and there was a ship. I recorded it and I caught it on camera. And I was just, da-da-da-da, and then I went back because I was like editing it. And when I was doing it really slowly, you see a ship go boop, appear out of
Huh?
nowhere, and you see the little orb. And then I'm just reading whatever. And then all of a sudden, it does like a little loop around my, like, kind of where my head was. And then it just jolts out and it disappears. And I
Oh,
have it
wow.
on video. And
That's so cool.
I told my friend, "Dude, a ship." Like, I captured it on camera,
Yeah.
and then 2 occasions this has happened to me.
Where were you at? Like, where were you
First,
at?
I was outside. The first one, I was
In
outside in my back,
California?
yeah, in my
Oh, okay.
backyard.
Okay, yeah.
My backyard, and you could I'll send it to you so you can see it.
That's cool. Yeah, let me see it. Um, yeah, and that's the thing, like, okay, so it's like there's so much, like, information that I think people, first of all, have to, like, get their mind around that, yeah, there are other
Mhm.
technologies and there are other beings, and then after that, it's like, but they're not all the same.
Yep,
They have different
yep,
intentions. There's negative or ones that could care less
mhm,
about, like, humanity's ascension and health. And then there's ones whom are here to do all, like, the help, and those of us that have had a lot of star connections off planet, a lot of us will find, "Oh, that's my family." Like, I know that that's my community, they're here to help me, and so sometimes they'll show up in a way to give that physical manifestation, and every
yeah,
time's kinda quite different. So, years ago, I was in Sedona, and we had recorded, and I don't know where the file went, but Nicole and I we were at this golf course, we were doing a live, and then back then everything was different, so I also was recording it on a different camera, and I wish I woulda done, like, faster frame rate, but I would pause it, and I would see this little, like, I guess, unidentified object, right? UFO thing flowing through, but it didn't look like a disc. It actually had,
yeah,
like, antenna on it, and it would look like these little boxes, and it was like, "Beep, beep, beep," and
yeah,
I saw it on the thing, and I was like, "Whoa, I didn't even know that was happening," and I felt like that was, like, some kinda government experiment, like,
mm,
you know, um, but it was like I didn't see it with the naked eye at all, but it came on the film, or
yep.
not film, but digital, you know? So, like, my whole thing is, like, that's awesome, and then how do you feel? Like, do you feel like that was a message for you? Like, this was
Yeah, like, I felt like it's because, like, before that, obviously, I called on the Ascended Masters, I called on the angels, I called on my guides, and I was calling everybody in out there, and
Mhm.
I I didn't like, when I looked, it's kind of farther back behind me, but if you slow it down, you can see it manifest, come in, do, like, a loop around, and then poop, you see,
Yes.
like, a disappearance, and then it just
Yeah.
disappeared out of nowhere. I was like,
So
"Whoa."
cool.
That one was a lot more like, once you circle it and you can really pay attention to that side where I'm at, like, you can see it. And I was like, wow, I'm like, I wonder if that was like my star family. And then I also was thinking, because like how, the Council of Light said, I know that there are, um, non-organic entities that are working with the government, and they're um, how they're even like negative beings are working with the government to kind of uh, not have us move into, other phases
Mhm.
of evolution, or how we're trying to evolve ourselves. Um, and so they're trying to like tear that down or try not let it happen and stuff. And so I, um, I kind of agree on that, but I'm not sure if it was, positive or organic, but I saw it. And uh so that's kind of cool that it jogged my memory when they were talking about that, about um seeing that ship like literally on
Yeah.
camera. And um but yeah, in Mount Shasta, they're everywhere.
They are. They are. That was my, like, next thing because 'cause I've seen them in Shasta too. I was like, "Where was this? Was that your Shasta trip?"
Oh, that was here in my backyard. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
had a
so,
client in Texas years ago when I first was getting to, like, work with the public, and he wanted to connect with his star family. He called these ships in, and I was really new, and also it was a different frequency than what felt comfortable to me.
yeah.
So I was, like, doing energy work, and I felt all the energy shift, and, like, literally and I could hear a humming. My dog went crazy.
Oh, wow.
And then he in the session, because it was really this was like I wasn't channeling back then so much, like, I really
Right.
wasn't. It was energy work, so I'm holding this space like Reiki, and but then I saw the vision where he, like, went up into this ship, and it was actually, like, in my backyard,
Oh,
and the
shit.
whole thing and I was, like, holding space, and so then the whole session came to a close, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I wanted you to go on the ship with me," and I was like, excuse me? Like, no. Firstly,
Yeah.
that's not a vibe I felt. It wasn't my star family. You're a client, like, I don't know you. And
Uh-huh.
that just felt so dangerous and like, just so inappropriate. And I was
Yeah.
like, "No." And then even at that, my dog was still upset. And
Mhm.
after he left, because I was working at home,
Yeah.
so after he left, I went outside and the ship was still in my backyard. I could feel it. And I was like, "Y'all need to leave."
Mhm. Mhm.
I couldn't see it with my eyes open, but I could
Mhm.
sense it, and with my mind's eye, I could see it, and it was super uncomfortable, and I guess, like, the reason I share that is, because you will find concentrated spaces on Earth where there's a lot of them, but,
Mhm.
people can call them in, like,
Yeah,
in any
yeah,
kind of place, so
yeah,
if you
yeah,
call enough, I guess they'll come, but I would just highly, like, be careful what you wish for, because
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
so I thought
bizarre.
it was interesting how they were talking about that, how, and I think that's
Yeah.
important for people to know that there are beings and things that are not of the light that are around us, and obviously they're working with these higher up people, and then
Mhm.
there are the, organic beings that are here to help us, and,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I just loved, like, all of, I loved hearing the whole conversation because it, like, kinda just flowed really well. I learned a lot, and I
it is.
felt like y'all asked some awesome, like, super great questions. So I'm excited to share with everybody.
Yeah, I love all the insight that they told. I love how your guys work too. Like, I think obviously I'll get something later on, but like I like how they more work on body, like obviously like working on bringing the energy in your body. And I loved all the little tips that they gave, like for people to really like help with what we're feeling. And the
Mhm.
other thing was, which was really interesting, when I was seeing it, they were basically telling us that as we're shifting timelines, we're leaving fractals of ourselves in different timelines.
Yeah.
And I was seeing little fractals just floating about like while you were talking.
Oh my gosh, that was such a good, like, point that you brought through. Yeah. I hadn't even thought well, I'm in China, I wasn't even thinking about it. But
Yeah.
like that yeah, it was yeah, you're like, "Oh, wait a hot second.
Mhm.
There's this too." Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well, thank you.